Hey, this is Foresight Pants here. I just realized going in and editing Twin Syndrome Part 1 again that this whole chapter is about 20 minutes long, and I realized this after I recorded like a bit of an end segment that kind of goes over some important news related to the channel and some other things like updates and stuff. It's very general stuff, but if you're interested in just listening to that, I'll put a timestamp up on the main video screen here, and you can just skip to that and then just listen to basically me ranting and talking about what I want to do for the future of the channel and reasons behind certain decisions and all that kind of nonsense. So yeah, with that out of the way, thanks for listening, and hope you enjoy. Twin Syndrome, Chapter 1. Start to finish, to start again. In this world, nearly 80% of the world's population inherits a sort of superpower, called a quirk. They range from simple telekinesis to full-body mutations. Some use their quirks for everyday life. Others use them for sin and undermine the rules of society. They are called villains. And there are those who use their quirks for good and fight the coming evil. They are known as heroes. 20 years ago, the original symbol of peace, All Might, had retired. And 8 years following his retirement, a new symbol had risen in Deku. But now, it is the time for new heroes to shine, new faces to take the limelight. And so, here begins the story of how King and his classmates forever changed the world of heroes. Our story begins in the suburbs of the familiar town of Musatafu, on a quiet morning following the end of the school year. "Kangla! Food's ready!" A low sizzle of bacon grease and steam follows Anzarn's call. She raises an eyebrow at the unusual length of silence.
"That's strange. He's usually up by now. And he has plans today, too."
She places the plates on a nearby countertop and heads for the stairs.
"Better get him. Up?"
She looks up to the bedroom door after hearing something fall.
"Oh dear."
The door suddenly flings open, and Anne, recognizing the scenario, quickly steps to the side before Kangla comes careening down the stairs. But despite all this and the painful fall, Kang still had a huge grin on his face.
"Whew! What a rush!"
Kangla's bright grin is swiftly swept away whenever his eyes meet that of an irritated Anne.
"Getting up a little late, are we?"
Kangla quickly picks himself up off the ground and makes a beeline for the counter.
"No, I'm just getting the perfect amount of sleep so that I'm completely energized for my workout today." "Yeah,"
Kangla says, beginning to shovel food into his mouth. Anne rubs her temples and sighs.
"Right. You know that Ryu and Don won't be too happy if you're late. Especially Ryu."
Kangla's pupils beam at the thought of dealing with another of Ryu's lectures, before returning to food shoveling.
"I won't be late."
"Well, you're certainly not helping your time here,"
Anne said, staring at her watch with a blank expression. Kangla's eyes dart to the microwave clock before he leaps from the stool over to his pack, which was launched alongside himself out of his bedroom.
Hey, hold up, Hot Rod."
Kangla freezes mid-dash in the open door.
"Don't overdo it this time."
I promise you, Grandma, this is purely physical training. No quirks involved.
King says, waving it off.
See you later.
Kingler waves once more before bolting out of the door, with a heavy sigh, and returns to the kitchen, a smile slowly crawling onto her face.
He's going to be late, Austin.
Ryu Miyashita says, looking up from his watch, his ponytail slinking back over his shoulder. Relax, Miyashita. He'll be here soon. He's just running fashionably late is all. Don Austin says, leaning into the wall behind him, the sun shimmering on his near bald head. A few moments of awkward silence later, Ryu and Don perk up, hearing a rush of footsteps and a labored breathing.
Oh!
King slides over the concrete, stopping just in front of Ryu.
How's it going, guys? You're here on time, right?
Ryu's eyes were glued to his watch for a good moment before he lets out a dim sigh.
You're safe this time, Zarin. But we're losing time. Let's get a move on.
Ryu ushers them onward with spastic gestures. Kang and Don shrug and follow right behind him.
Alright, Miyashita, so what have you got planned for us today? I'm just itching to get started.
Kang says, pumping his fist. Ryu pushes up his glasses in response to Kang's question.
Well, with you going for UA and Austin and I going to Langford, our entrance exam criteria will be quite different.
Kang and Don both stare up in thought.
But I believe if we all practice for the UA exam, our chances of all getting accepted will skyrocket.
Well said, Miyashita. So it's going to be a lot of combat training, huh?
Not exactly.
Ryu shouts, startling Don.
Look at us, gentlemen. What do you see?
The boys look intensely at themselves and then each other. We're all short.
Don, seriously?
Kang says, glaring down at Don. He scratches his head in response, his cheeks flushed. Sorry, well, I can't think of anything.
Me either. What is it, Ryu?
Ryu smirks, as if he's been in this situation before.
Our physical shape is quite lacking, and we need to be in tip-top shape if we're gonna stand a chance.
I suppose I could use a little more muscle before the exam.
You, Kang? You're practically the strongest of the three of us. Don says, playfully elbowing Kang.
Yeah, true, but what if it isn't enough for what I'll face in the practical?
Exactly!
Ryu shouts, pushing up his glasses once more.
If we're gonna pass our exams, we need to push our bodies farther than they've ever been before. To do so, I have set up a 2-month weekly, no weekends regimen where each day of the week will specialize in 2 areas of exercise so that we don't work out one area too much and we have time to work and grow in other areas. Sound good?
Ryu turns towards Kang and Don, who are both completely dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Great!
Ryu eccentrically turns around and grips the door handle behind him.
Now let's get started.
He swings the door open, and to Ryu's surprise, both Don and Kang's expressions begin to sour.
What, did I say something? Oh.
He turns around to see what exactly was happening, and in that moment realized exactly why their faces turned rugged. Sitting on a weightlifting bench was a tall, muscular, red-headed girl lifting a handbell. Her piercing orange eyes starkly contrasted her rough, dirty peach skin. Her jagged features grimace upon seeing the boys.
What are you dorks doing here?
Kang pushes to the front of the other boys, his expression tensing.
I was about to ask you the same thing, Tensei. We're actually here to start prepping for our entrance exams. And because Kang's is much more practical, our training is much more rigor. Whoa!
Ryu is swiftly pushed aside by Tensei, inching closer to Kang's face with an arrogant grin.
Oh yeah, you're wanting to go to UA. Tough luck there, Kang. Only the best of the best gets into UA. And most people trying out have at least learned to control their quirks at this point. Which, you haven't. At this point, don't even bother going to the tryouts.
Kang clenches his fists, inching closer to Tensei.
So what if I'm a late bloomer? With enough training, I'm just as capable as you.
Tensei's grin widens as she brings up her arm, clenching her fists too, her skin glowing and emanating with heat.
Just as capable as me, huh? How about we see it?
Gladly.
Huh? He looks back to see Dawn holding his shoulder, and Ryu looking between him and Tensei anxiously.
It's fine, Kang. Let's just find somewhere else to train.
Kang looks back at Tensei as if he were about to say something, but nothing came out. He just looks back at Ryu with silent acceptance and walks away. Ryu and Dawn in tow.
So now what? How are we going to train without the gym? There's no point in going to a place with a membership with the time we have left.
Kang asks with a dejected and worried expression. Ryu pushes up his glasses confidently before turning to face his companions.
You guys are forgetting who you're friends with now. Did you really think I wouldn't come up with a plan B?
Kang and Dawn look at him rather confused before it finally clicks.
Yeah, fair point. So instead of the school gym, we'll be training here.
Outstretching his hand, he reveals the Musutafu Beach, the same one Midoriya originally trained on. Not much has changed since it was originally cleaned up 20 years prior. Open, pristine sands and blue water. And the best part, no one was there.
This beach is our best option for training for how underutilized it is by the public. Though, seeing as how we don't have any exercise equipment, I'll bring my own for future sessions. Though it will be minimalistic, but it will be more than enough.
He points a finger towards the sky and pacing the beach in front of them.
You're the only person who could have a fail-safe plan with this research, Mayashita. But in all honesty,
King looks out to the water's edge.
This is perfect. Oh, don't make me blush.
Ryu waves his hand towards them embarrassed. Yeah, now I'm really getting pumped. Come on, Mayashita, let's get started. Dawn pumps a fist to the air, bouncing a little in excitement.
Alright, you two ready to begin the path of a hero?
Ryu points to both Dawn and Kang to get them pumped up. Nothing like an over-the-top and cheesy line of encouragement to start their workout regimen. And it worked like a charm.
You know it!
They were definitely not ready for what Ryu had planned. The next 3 months were some of the most physically intense and rigorous training Ryu had ever made them endure. By the end of it all, Kang and Dawn felt like they were going to crumple from the waist down and lay dead for another 3 months just to recover. It was rough for sure, but they didn't come out empty-handed. All 3 boys were in the best physical condition they've been in years, and they felt ready for whatever their entrance exams had to throw at them.
Thanks for not killing us this week, Mayashita.
King wipes the sweat off of his brow after their final session of the summer. They had spent the last week doing simple stretches and exercises to help them recover and be ready for their exams.
Of course, Kang. I don't want us to be falling apart before our exams. We want to be at peak performance, not run down after all.
You've got a good point, Mayashita. Though I think we're more than prepared for Langford's entrance exam. It's Kang who we gotta root for now. Don puts on his bag and puts his hands behind his head, joining Kang and Ryu.
Don? He's right, Kang.
Ryu puts a hand on Kang's shoulder.
You've got a really big challenge ahead of you. Remember, I structured this training to give you the best possible odds of getting in. Despite what Tensei says.
Ryu scoffs. Kang smiles deeply in appreciation for his friends. Ryu and Dawn have done so much to help him out, to help him move past what others, like Tensei, thought he was capable of. And now he couldn't let them down.
Well, if that's the case, I can't let you guys down then.
And with that, their summer training session came to an end. the trio went their separate ways to prepare for their upcoming exams, mentally preparing themselves with what was to come. Kang, however, was still actively training, though it wasn't at all like what he had done prior.
Come on.
He stood in his garage, repeatedly turning on his quirk. He had neglected his quirk for the most part throughout the training session. It wouldn't have helped his progress. If anything, it would have regressed it. There wasn't a whole lot of time to perfect it now, so he just trained to control it.
Come on, Kang. You can do this.
Tensing his arms again, a white sludge secreted to cover them. It writhed and slinked up in wave-like tendrils as if it had a mind of its own.
Concentrate.
He was breathing deeply, his eyes closed and his body relaxed. He stood there for a moment, feeling the sensation of his quirk on his arms. However, he ended up lost in his thoughts, pondering what the exam will be like, how he'll do, what the competition is. It started to swarm his mind. He was never the anxious type, but this exam would change his life, pass or fail, and he didn't want to be ill-prepared. Though he ended up standing there lost in thought for so long, he had completely forgotten about his quirk. He didn't even feel the sensation anymore. Because of this, he had expected his quirk to have retracted, but to his surprise, it wasn't. When he opened his eyes, his quirk was still active and moving along his arms.
Whoa. It's never lasted this long before. Can I...
He flexes his fingers and his quirk retracts, practically on command. An expression of childlike glee spreads across Kang's face as he jumps with the success.
Yes! I can control it now. Somewhat, but I can control it.
The day of the exam came as it was expected to. A beautiful morning with slightly overcast skies and cool temperatures. The perfect day for UA to judge its next generation of heroes. For many, this would be the first and only time they would walk through UA's gates. For others, it would be the start of a life-changing journey. And now, Kang stood among them, unsure of which end of the spectrum he would end up on. But he knew in his heart he could only be on one, and he had to fight for it. With a clenched fist and a determined expression, he enters the gate, where his life would be changed no matter the outcome.
I won't let them down.
To be continued.
Hey, thank you so much for listening all the way through the first chapter of Twin Syndrome, my Hero Academia fan story. I just kind of wanted to do this little outro bit to kind of give a point of notice as to how frequently new chapters of this and Captain's Log and other originals I may upload in the future, the frequency of their uploads. And I do not really have a schedule as to when these get uploaded and when these get, recorded and whatnot. I just do them as they're finished, and I do have quite a few scripts finished already. I just need to go about doing the voiceover for them. So, as to when they'll be released, sporadically, and whenever one's ready, it will be released. But other than that, that's all I gotta say. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next chapter. Peace.
Hey, this is Pants from the future, and yeah, this is the last of the Spotify stuff that I did over a year ago now, and that's Wow, that consistency be damned. Jesus Christ. This one in particular was published on October 2nd last year, and looking at it now, it's October 25th, and man, I really got caught up with a lot of schoolwork and band and all that other extra stuff while I wanted to keep making those. And Spotify was a nice attempt at trying to get my stories out there, but I think just going into the future for content like this, I'm just gonna focus it primarily on YouTube. And if you couldn't tell already, I'm kind of just winging this right now. I'm not reading off of a script. This is kind of just me being real with y'all. Uh, I'm still very busy with school, and it takes a lot for me to get motivated to edit like the bigger video, like the more visual videos, like the one I'm working on now, and I'll most likely have a preview out in the next couple weeks or so. I'm gonna put some big asterisks on that because I'm not even sure if that'll even be the case. It's taken a lot out of me to actually like commit to editing that video and getting it out the door, because I just have so much stuff going on in my life, but I also want to keep making, those types of videos, and, the highlights and even more stories, which this is another one that I'm working on. I got a lot of, I've said a lot before. I've got a lot of projects I want to work on for this channel. And the first one for the writing, for like the story type stuff, I think I'm going to go along with a lot of my friends' requests and do Steelenbergen 2. I've been nagged at for a while to get Steelenbergen 2 out, and I think y'all be happy to hear that I am working on the script for that alongside the other video project that's currently a work in progress. And yeah, about the Spotify stuff, let's just go over that real fast before I actually end the video. I will do more captain's logs because I did quite enjoy making those two. Writing them was quite fun, and I think giving those little previews to projects that I'm working on, or just like, I don't know, I feel like with Captain's Log now, I think I can just go with more like random, not really random, just more like interesting stories that aren't related to like the actual stories that I'm writing, and just to keep that kind of style going, because it was easily one of my favorite styles of writing and narrating that I think I've ever done. And then going to this one, the My Hero fan fiction, and that I don't know. I don't think I'm going to continue doing narration for this one. And it sucks. It really does suck, because I'm a huge My Hero Academia fan, if you couldn't tell by the fact that I even wrote and narrated fully an entire chapter of a multi-chapter fan fiction that I've already written, not published. I'm not really one, though. This is my way of publishing my stories, and I don't think I'll keep going with Twin Syndrome, at least narration wise and making videos off of it. And it's not because I don't think it'll do well, far from it. It's more so I want to focus more on original ideas, and I'm getting feeling some whiplash right there, because if you just looked at all the files I have for Twin Syndrome, all the characters I've made, all of like the plots and arcs and characters, quirks, all this like world building stuff that makes my hero with my own little flair on it. I love doing that, but I realistically don't think I can continue narrating or like fully voicing over those stories, mainly because they're, compared to the rest of the stuff that I've been writing over the past few years, the tone and style is so radically different. I'm not sure it would work as well in contrast to something like Captain's Log or the over-the-top goofiness that is Steelenbergen. And that kind of sucks. Again, it sucks for me in particular because I've been writing that fanfic. I even started over and been rewriting that fanfiction since high school. And to kind of drop it off, at least on the narration side, it's unfortunate, but I think it's the right choice going forward. And just one more thing before I close out this video. I chose to archive these because I feel like they're good reminders of where I'm coming from. If any of y'all have been keeping up the channel, you'll notice that I just straight up deleted certain videos. Like the 2 Smash videos I uploaded, those were deleted. A little clip of watching some of our friends driving backwards to into a Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. I mean, if you want to see that clip, it's on a friend's channel. I can link it in the description. And probably the biggest video series, my entire playthrough of Sonic Lost World, I just basically Thanos snapped. They're gone forever. Like, I deleted the source files for the playthroughs. I don't even know what happened to the Dunkin' Donuts video. And the Smash videos were so low effort it almost made me vomit. Like, literally if you couldn't tell by how bad the quality was on those videos, I basically edited them on my phone with the really crappy iPhone captures, like iPhone editing and cropping. And personally, I'm not a big fan of Smash anymore. Maybe I'll do a video on Ultimate in the future, but I am not necessarily proud of those videos. I think they were really low effort and trying to capitalize on just how big Ultimate was. Because I am by no means a pro player. I am very much average at the game, and I tend to stay that way. And that was kind of me trying to ape another YouTuber who just does it better with a more interesting character. Like, those Smash videos, I just hated those. And looking back on it now, it just seems kind of, harsh on myself to just straight up delete those videos and get rid of them, because, as most of you know, there is an old YouTube channel of mine that I made when I was about 11 or 12 years old, and it has a lot of very cringy, very early 2010s Minecraft videos and vlog videos, and like, the only reason that is still up is because I can't myself delete the YouTube account or the Google account, because I just don't have access to it anymore. Not that it matters, because I have other emails that I use for other things. But that stays, and that's kind of like a reminder of where I'm coming from. And then literally my first video on here, the Wardrobe Podcast, is another thing that I look back on every now and then and say, we actually didn't do a terrible job with this. And Gavin, probably my best friend, he's been wanting to do another podcast, and he said the Wardrobe Podcast was probably the best we'd ever attempted, and I felt really flattered, because that was me attempting to make something unique out of like the whole podcast. And granted, it didn't go as well as, like, looking back on it, it doesn't go as well as it felt like it did when we originally made those videos. But I won't say that they're bad. And that's kind of my philosophy going forward, is that if I feel like something is worthy of being uploaded, if something is worthy of being shown, then I will show it. And I don't think I need to hold back anymore and feel like, what if people think this is a bad video or if it's low effort? Like every project is a step forward, basically. And wow, I basically just rambled for about 10 straight minutes. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close the video here. Thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And just know that I'm not always going to be consistent, but I will keep putting content out there for you guys to enjoy, no matter what type. But just know that I'm going to be putting more and more of my heart into it going forward. So yeah, that's all I got. Peace.